Hey there YouTubers, so in this video we are going to update the BIOS on this here AsRock Z690 Pro RS motherboard. So let's go ahead and start, most of us use Google, so let's act like we're starting here and we're going to type in AsRock Z690 Pro and we'll put RS in there. So we'll go, first link is the actual AsRock link. Hope you guys can see that. I think one of my buddies told me, sometimes the little clicker you can't see what we're doing, so we use a number 2 Phillips. Alright, so here you go, AsRock's page. And let me center this up a little better, folks. So sometimes I use a capture card. Sometimes I'll use OBS. I'll use a bunch of different things, but I'm just going to use a camera on a stand for this today. So hope this works for y'all. Alright. So when you come to an AsRock page, Gigabyte, Asus, whatever, a lot of times you're going to see support up here. This is not the support we want. Usually the support you want is the second one down. In this case you can't even see it. I might be zoomed in too much. Yeah, well, I was at 100%. You want this support right here. Alright, can you guys see that? Right there. So we'll click on that. And then while we're here, let's talk about what else is here, because some of you are new to building computers and are jumping into a 12th gen build. This is the place you're going to find out memory compatibility, your CPUs that are supported, which this is probably, they got it up to date. They got everything in here. Wow. A lot of times you come in these sites and half the stuff is not even listed, folks. But new Celerons, if you really want one of those in this motherboard, Pentiums, all the i3s, the i5s, the i7s, and the King, the i9, 12900K and KF. So you can find all that in here. Cooler compatibility list. So wow. You know why they started doing this one? I don't remember seeing this in any of the other ones, but because Intel's been doing LGA 1151 and all these coolers have been compatible for years, then they come out with this CPU and they're not. Well, guess what? You need to check this list. Now, Nock 2 is not on here, folks, but if you buy their bracket, or you buy one now on Amazon, you will get the proper bracket. And I can tell you, I don't know the part number offhand, but this is the 120 millimeter Nock 2. Of course, I don't have the fan on it, but there's the fan. That one is compatible, okay, with the bracket. Alright, so we talked CPU memory. You've got even solid state drives, the coolers. If you need a manual in here, that's what's there, right? And then downloads. You may have used another disk, or we'll say, solid state drive, hard drive, that's got drivers on it previously. You might want to come in here, including Windows. You might want to come in here and make sure you get all the drivers related to this motherboard. A lot of times I don't do that. It's not the best thing. Alright, back to what we're here for in this video. BIOS. So you can see here there are 3 versions in here, okay? And though this motherboard, let's look at it, it has the instant flash thing, I'm going to use this guy. So I think this will pull up instant flash. Instant flash. Yeah, we're just gonna download it and do the tried and true method. Method 1 easy mode. That's what we're gonna do, okay? The method 1 version. even though that says instant flash. Then there's method 2. This one you put it on a USB drive. Christ, what's the difference? These are both on USB drives. Well, let's not confuse ourselves, folks. We're going to download from over on the right side here, okay? Right over here. Now, what I wanted to talk to you before we do that, do you really need to do a BIOS update, okay? And this video it's going to take a little while to get through it, folks. But, it's important. Every time you do a BIOS update, you risk bricking the motherboard, right? There's all kinds of crap that could go wrong. Last week we had a bad snowstorm here, right? So we lost power. If I did that in the middle, right at the beginning of it, and the power went out, if it even, flickers, it could obviously just wreck your motherboard, okay? A lot of different things can happen. Tornadoes, hurricanes, lightning storm, windstorm, hailstorm, dust storm, all the things out there, folks, that could just ruin your day for updating BIOS. You got to be, you got to know what's going on with the weather. If you've got a UPS or UPS, however you want to refer to it, have that plugged in. Even if it only lasts for a little bit, that's much safer way to do it, right? All right. Now, so there's the weather part that factors in. The other aspect is looking at the description of what's on here. Do we really even need to do it yet? Well, I'm doing it, for video sake. I'm also doing it because this thing's on, inside of its return policy date, right? So if it gets jacked up, hey, it's going back. But later on, I might not want to do it. So, most likely the BIOS that's on here is going to be this first released one. We'll check that in a moment. And then you see here improved memory compatibility. So realistically, let's go back in time. Okay, I know this is Z690. If we go back to, and this isn't going to be the exact same motherboard because I honestly don't even think that AsRock had a Z490 Pro Series or Pro RS. Yeah, they don't have Pro RS. Let's just pick one. Phantom Gaming 4, okay? Go in here. And why am I pulling this up, folks? Because it's going to show you how many BIOS updates there were for this one, right? Wow, there weren't really that many. This isn't the best example. Yeah, AsRock honestly kind of sucks, folks. Let me show you another. Let's put in a Gigabyte Z490. We'll do the UD. I bought that one. All right, one of these is going to work out for us. See where there's a support up here? Boom, support there. It's like the same with every motherboard company. So we're looking for BIOS on this one. And so they have a lot better description, right? So I'm not sure AsRock tells you everything that's going on, but so in this example, 3D gaming performance optimized. Okay, that's good to know. You've got additional 4K support, specifically calling out different RAM here, storage manager, RGB for RAM. This is the one I was looking for on the AsRock. BIOS update to be compatible with 11th gen. Where our Z690, eventually there's going to be a 13th gen. Most likely, if you have 12th gen and you want to go to 13th gen, your best bet is to update the BIOS before you do that, okay? There could be additional security measures taken inside of BIOS updates. A lot of times you'll see those in here. Most of the time, hardware issues, solving compatibility issues, firmware, You've got upgrading, this is still hardware, but upgrading, from 11, in this case 10th to 11th gen, in the future for us, 12th to 13th, platform trust. So all these different little things, vulnerabilities, these are why we might want to update that. Right now, for the most part, I don't see a reason for most of you to even bother, okay? But we're going to do it. Now, the other thing to look at, folks, you've got 3 BIOSes in here. We want to know which one we have, right? Let's say we had 1.31. We obviously want to update to the newest BIOS, which is 3.06. You will get everything that came in 2.04 as well as the new stuff for 3.06, okay? So how do we find that out? Well, if you go down to your search bar, folks, I just hit the camera, type in sysinfo, okay? Brings up system information. You will see your BIOS right there, 3.4, all right? 3.4, folks. What in the heck? I must have looked at the wrong thing. Let's go back. Yours truly. Sorry. Whoops. Wrong column. Or wrong row. Row. Alright. I knew that didn't make sense. BIOS version date right here. Okay. Apologies for... We're not always perfect every time we do this. I'm glad I checked that, though, because none of these match up, right? So, 1.31, that's the initial first released. It was done 10/12, which was only 3 months ago. I think I've had this for 30 days. And so we're going to go ahead and update it. But there you go. That's how you figure it out. At the end of this, we will check this again, and you'll see this at 3.06. Unless something goes wrong. All right. Now, we're going to download this file. Okay. And then I'm going to click up here, if you can see that. I don't know if you guys can even see that. There's a folder here. I want to see the file in the folder. That brought that up. Okay. And then we're going to extract all. Alright, so there's that file. So we want to copy this folder directly to our thumb drive, okay? A lot of times, folks, I will take 2 thumb drives because I never bother to check to see if it's FAT32. And if we look, let's see if it's on here still. Oh, if we click on this, we'll bring it back up. Or is this the second page? Yeah. So if you format a thumb drive for this, you want it to be FAT32, okay? Just like it says right there. Alright. So I need to find a thumb drive. I'm going to use this guy right here, this HP. Let's hope that it's ready to rock and roll, folks. You can see we got all kinds of gaming stuff on here. So, go back to here, Z690. We want to make sure we're grabbing the right one. I do this all the time, so a lot of times I'll pull up one of these drives and there'll be multiple ones on here. And boom, we drop that folder in. Now sometimes you could just put depending on the motherboard, you can just put the file right there. You don't need the folder, but as I found with a B450 the other day, I renamed this and it could not find it. It was crazy. Alright, so we've checked the weather. Everything's good, right? I mean, I shit you not, folks. Weather.com, check your weather, right? Keep any animals out of the room that might, knock your computer over, unplug it, get the kids away from you. This is serious business, folks. All right, so we're going to restart. There's some of me is being sarcastic, but there is some truth to this. All right, restarted. We're pounding on that delete key, folks, because we want to be ready. And you can do F2 or delete with this. You might be able to see it in the lower right corner. And I think I've probably done it enough times. Okay, so here we are. We're in easy mode. And boom, here's instant flash down here at the bottom, okay? Interesting, internet flash. So a lot of these, there can be three different ways to do this. In this case, we just want to do this. Please suspend BitLocker. I don't have that, so. All right, so it found it. You saw how fast it found it? Now, this is your last chance to back out of this. I feel pretty good about this. Let me just go over one other thing, folks. Take a picture of your boot priority with your cell phone. You can see just the way this looks. It may not look like this after you do a BIOS update, right? If you made changes in your BIOS to get your operating system to work, it may go back to the default, and you'll be like, why does it always boot up to? Could boot up to this screen basically. You don't want that, right? So knowing what you're doing with the boot priority, people will leave questions all the time. I can't answer everybody's question, and honestly, a lot of these motherboards I don't have anymore, so I can't answer some of the questions anymore. But just I need to start bringing this up every time, though. All right, so we're gonna click update. Now we're doing the BIOS update. Okay, so somebody put this in the notes. Do you want to update UEFI blah blah blah? Yes, I do. System will automatically reboot. Please wait a few seconds. So that's kind of scary, right? Right off the bat, seems like, hey, did we lose it? So I'm backing up off the computer, and I'm going to play with my phone, but I'm going to let this record, folks, because you guys need to see the whole thing, in my opinion. Do not power off, okay? So honestly, in here, I've got a shit ton of computers that I probably should have shut one or two of them off, right? If one of them happened to surge, it could pop the breaker, right? And just another thing we don't want to happen. 12% into it. Now this is honestly probably my 50th one of these on this channel. I couldn't tell you how many motherboards I've updated over the years, but there's nothing worse than buying a motherboard and something happens to it, right? Whether it be bricking it from this type of thing, dropping a screwdriver onto your socket and damaging some pins. There are a lot of things that can go wrong and do go wrong. 70%. Getting there. Now there was a reboot. Like I said, every time that happens, it can scare the living you know what out of you. Rebooting again. And voila. So, you guys saw one of my mini emails. That's not like one of my real emails that I use. So feel free to spam away. You won't get a response. All right, let me pause this a second, and we'll go into Windows. All right, so I just wanted to close a few things. There were a few things that were going to pop up that I don't want anybody to see. So once again, we're going to do system information, and as you can see, we're now 3.06 right here. Okay, 12/27, 2021, newest BIOS. You know, is everything stable? That's a good question. Did anything get jacked up? Like, did a RAM reset? Obviously the drives worked, boot priority worked, right? Let's look at task manager. Did my memory reset to something lower? Yes, it did. Okay, see that? It was cranking 3200, now it's 2667. So just, you know, certain things you got to watch out for, right? Obviously the boot thing worked, RAM, and that's it, folks. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. I hope you get something out of it. I know it was a long ass video, but something you gotta preach. Safety. You've got to honestly look at everything, all the risks associated with this. Right, there are quite a few, and the other things that can go wrong later that even after you follow this video, you might be like, what am I supposed to do, right? And that boot priority thing might be one of them. You might also be like, what happened to my RAM? So I'm going to go back into the BIOS after this. I'm not going to, show you guys that part, but we'll check that out, get it back up to 3200, and be done. Thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.